Hello, YouTube. Hi, I'm back. Okay, so today is two things. Actually, I'm going to be making another video after this. I have to stick to topic and keep it under 30 minutes. Okay, so today's two things. I'm just going to be giving an update on job search. Again, I know what I want to do, and I have explored certain things in terms of job search. I will become an event coordinator. That is what I want to do. That is what I've been doing. That's what I did for many years. And that is what I love doing and will continue to do. That's the first thing. So my job search encompasses anything in the area of event planning, hospitality, food and beverage, anything that encompasses that, and anything that encompasses business. So, for example, let's see, getting degreed in some sort of business area, getting certified as an event coordinator, anything in that area. That's what I want to do. The second thing is, I have great news. I finally linked up with some of the people. It's amazing, because, and this is just a suggestion. So that's the job search. The job search is anything in the area of event planning, right? Also, I don't mind working part-time because I have to work. I really don't mind working part-time. But I have specific criteria. If I'm working part-time, I have specific criteria that I need to have accomplished. My hands are just really dry because I wash my hands like 500 times a day and I forget to lotion it after I wash it, sorry. So excuse me if my hands look really, really, really ashy because they really, really, really are ashy. So I'm going to keep my hands up down here. Okay, so I don't mind working part-time. I don't mind working part-time in an office, administrative-wise. I don't mind working part-time, doing practically anything, but there's specific criteria that I require if I'm working part-time that I will not negotiate on. Okay, so that's the job search. I'm still looking. I haven't given up. I still continue to reach out to restaurants, see if they're looking for hostesses, sorry. And I'm still looking around for event coordinating or even an internship doing event coordinating, so I can establish some of the skills that I had when I was working as an event coordinator in New York. Okay, so that's basically job search. I also reached out to a friend of mine that I knew in New York. I laughed because I was like, oh my God, girl, you got around in New York, huh? I really did get around. His name is Ron, and he used to do, well, he still does, and he's been doing it for 30 years. He's been really, really good at Brazilian bateria, and he did samba shows all over New York, and we had a great conversation today. And what was amazing was that he reminded me that I did one of his soca shows for him. Again, all of this is associated with, event planning. So I did one of his soca shows for him, and I totally forgot about that, So, I mean, this is not, this video is not just about me, but just, giving you a heads up. But the reason why I brought it up is because, one of the good things about social media, I'm really going to hide my hands because I can't like run away and get some lotion and look really terrible. Oh. But one of the great things about social media that I like about social media is that you get to store your history, even though it's not necessarily a good thing to put all your history out on the internet. But the good thing is you get to keep lasting memories that you made, because you can forget about these memories, And now that I'm going back into what I love doing, because I was sidetracked for a couple of years, I'm looking for the magazines. I can't find the magazines. I can't find any of the images online from when I modeled. I can't find any of the, the newspapers I was in. I can't find anything, And now it's kind of like even trying to reconnecting with the friends that I lost when I was sidetracked. Even them, I have to, go out and reestablish these relationships, And like I said to you before, I'm establishing my relationships coming from a time when I went through a particular, challenge, because certain issues that I don't really want to go into, but I'm overcoming them. I'm overcoming those issues, and that's the most important thing, right? So, keep track of your memories. Keep track of those memorable moments that you made and you made with other people. Because, he said to me today, he said, "Oh, yes, of course I remember you." He said, "You had a nickname," and I was thinking, I was like, "What was my nickname?" He said, "Your nickname was Rain." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, yeah," because my stage name when I performed, my stage name for Brazilian samba was Renata Rain, and my stage name for African dance was African, which is hilarious. It was African Rain Dance because it's rain. Anyway, the first four letters of my name is Rain, right? So it was Renata Rain. That was my stage name for Brazilian samba, and my stage name for African dance was African Rain Dance, which is, it's hilarious. So anyway, yeah. So he said that to me, and my memory, came back, and I said, "Oh my goodness." He said, "Yeah, did you forget?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You have a really, really, really good memory," and I forgot about that. And it's interesting because I spoke to someone I knew a long time ago, and they said to me, "Oh, I saw you in this music video, with this rapper that you did, this music video that you did, and I forgot about that too." And I was like, "Okay, do you remember the rapper's name?" And I think it was Wyclef Jean. I think that's who the rapper was. If it wasn't Wyclef Jean, it could have been, I remembered who it was the other day. But the point I'm trying to make is keep your memories, get a portfolio, If you don't have one, you can buy one like really cheap. You could buy one for like $20 and get a portfolio of your memories, especially if you're a performer, never get rid of those things, always keep them, and I made a mistake in that I got rid of it. I even got rid of my samba costumes. I don't even have my photos from when I traveled and I did samba. I don't have any of the newspapers, magazines, nothing. When I did African dance and performed here and performed there and performed for this person and did this, and I got rid of it all. And now that I'm getting back into it, it's kind of like, and I'm reconnecting with the people that I had really good relationships with. It's kind of like, you lost this whole period of your life, So anyway, so my point for saying that was keep your memories, keep a portfolio of your memories, so you can always look back on your memories and at the good times that you had and the really great people that you met and people who knew you and who knows the truth about you, because you never know what the future may bring. And if at any point in time there's anyone who, who may try to sabotage you or whatever, you have these memories, great memories with people, and people always remember. This is one of the things that kept me all these years in the midst of a slander storm. I went through a slander storm. That's what I'm going to call it, a slander storm. The mistake I made, one of the mistakes I made when I went through the slander storm is that I disconnected from all the great people that I knew. And I knew a lot. I'm in New York City. I knew a lot of people in New York City. I knew a lot of people in New York. And because I disconnected from them, when I went through that slander storm, I had no one there to vouch for me, because I didn't anticipate years ago that I would have to go through a slander storm, So now that I look back in retrospect, I'm like, all the good relationships you have in your life, maintain them. All the good associates, all the good business relationships, all the good friendships you have in your life, maintain those friendships, maintain contact. Even if you move away, maintain contact with those people, because you never know who can vouch for you when you need it. You never know who may stand up for you when you need it. You never know when this person will just be there for you as a friend, that kind of thing. So that's one of the first things I wanted to talk about, right? Okay, so today I wanted to just touch on really lightly two subjects. I'm going to make this video and then I'm going to go back and make another video. Okay, so during my slanders, the reason why I'm talking about some of these subjects is because these are things that I went through personally, and I think that they can help a lot of people in a lot of areas of their lives. Okay, people may be going through this, have gone through this, or may not have gone through this, or in the future they may go through it. So, and they may not know what to do, you know. So it's always comforting to have someone who's been through something, learn from it, and you can get the vision before it happens, so you know what to look out for. You can use their foresight, their hindsight, as your foresight. Okay, so you're going to use their hindsight, what they learned in retrospect, as your foresight for what to look out for and what to do in case you find yourself in this situation. Okay, one of the things that I experienced, that I literally had to fight to get through, and I got through, was embarrassment. And when I went through that slander storm, the goal of the slander storm was to irreparably destroy me. It was to destroy every single thing about me, was to destroy my name, the way I look, my character, all my relationships, all my connections, everyone I knew, and paint me as this person that was not me, right? And in the midst of that, one of the things they were really trying to beat into me. They were really, really, really trying to like beat me down and get me to a point where I would be so ashamed, that I would become immobile. And it took me a while. It took me a while to really begin to wake up and look at the situation and realize, first of all, I'm not the one who executed this. I'm not the one who thought this up. So why should I be embarrassed for something I didn't do? So that's where the theme of this came from. The goal was to embarrass me to the point that I would self-destruct. But that embarrassment only was, for a while, it paralyzed me, but then it began to serve as my fuel. Once I recognized and I was able to see what the intended goal of globally humiliating me was intended to do, I began to use it as my fuel, because I came to a point of liberation where I said, this is what they intended to do. This was the end result of what they wanted. I have the choice to buckle under what they intended, or I have the choice to use it as fuel to fly. And one of the things that I began to recognize was that people are going to believe what they want to believe anyway. If people want to believe that you're a certain way, which is not true, contrary to all the evidence, they're going to believe what they want to believe. And no matter what you say or what you do, people will believe what they want to believe. So it's been years now, and I have grown from that situation. I recognize the mistakes that I made that put me in that situation. I recognize those parasitic vampires for who they were. And it taught me now to recognize parasitic vampires from a mile away. And I call them parasitic vampires because that's exactly what they are. They are parasitic vampires and image destroyers, right? So now I'm in a position where I'm like literally rebuilding everything from the ground up, right? So what did I learn? And this is what I wanted to share with you. Things that you should never feel embarrassed about. And embarrassment is one of those tools, or shame, or should I say shame? Shame is one of those tools that can really, really, really immobilize a person. And one of the things when enemies conspire, and don't think for 1 second that enemies aren't real. These rap artists, I don't really listen to rap, but these rap artists, they always speak about haters and haters and haters, and for many years, I never understood like haters until I experienced it. And they would say things like haters are gonna hate, and when you experience the hatred from haters, then you begin to understand what they're singing about, right? Okay, so things that you should never be embarrassed about. So remember, shame is a tool that could be used both ways. It can be used to destroy a person, or it can be used to uplift a person, or it can be used to protect and preserve a person. If a person would be too embarrassed to do something, they may not do it. If a person gets embarrassed, they may become immobile and paralyzed. Or a person may think, okay, I'll be embarrassed if I do this, so I'm not going to do it, So that kind of thing. All right. So the first thing, you should never be embarrassed about what other people do towards you. So many people are walking around feeling ashamed because of things that other people did. You should never be embarrassed for something another person did. Now, part of the reason they may be embarrassed was because they could have said, look, I should have known better, or I saw the signs and I overlooked the signs, you know? So again, if you can stop a person's behavior from happening that would cause you embarrassment and would cause you shame and, you know, disgrace or whatever, then fine. But if you're not able to stop them, you should not be embarrassed for something someone else orchestrated. That's just it. You should not be embarrassed for something someone else plotted, devised, and executed. Okay? The second thing is what other people think about you. Now, this is a double-edged sword because there are times when what other people think about you is beneficial to you. For example, you know, you go to the doctor and the doctor says, okay, here's what I think. That is constructive. Okay? If it's meaningful and it can help you, then that is constructive and that's something you should listen to. But 9 times out of 10, what other people think is not constructive criticism. It's more like destructive criticism. And that is something you should not be embarrassed about. Okay? What other people think about you, you should not be embarrassed about if it's destructive criticism, right? The third thing is failing. A lot of people are embarrassed about failing in life, failing at some. I am to the point where I'm just like, look, if I fail, so what? You know why? Because I failed doing something most people would not even try to do. And most people are just embarrassed about failing because they're like, okay, oh my God, I failed. So if I go back, I'll be the laughing stock. But at least, you see, at least you try to do something that someone never even thought about doing. So why should you be afraid of failure? You're trying to do something to better yourself, or you tried to do something and at least you failed, as opposed to never trying at all. You should never be embarrassed about failing. Never be embarrassed about failing. Adult bullying and child bullying. This is a big issue, okay? In society, we tend to talk a lot about child bullying, but we overlook the other Trojan horse, adult bullying, okay? Where, you know, adults, you know, childhood bullies grow up to be adult bullies, okay? And we overlook these things. And one of the things with adult and child bullying is shame. You know, it drives people to the point of shame that people are, you know, young people are killing themselves, and even adults are killing themselves because they're driven to, they're overburdened with so much shame because of what was done to them that they cause harm to themselves or they cause harm to others, okay? So again, we should never feel embarrassed about being bullied. So if anyone is bullying you or saying anything negative about you, or slandering you, or deriding you, or, you know, speaking evil about you, or talking behind your back, or lying about you, I've experienced it, okay? You should never be ashamed about that. Never be ashamed about that. First of all, it's none of their damn business what you do in your life in the first place. It's none of their business what you do in your life. Always remember, life is possessive, okay? Life has an owner. Life has an owner. It's possessive. It's your life. So you should not be afraid of doing, as long as it doesn't cause harm and it doesn't, you know, break some laws, you know, you should not be ashamed of you know, your life. So anyone who's bullying, whether it's an adult bullying or childhood bullying, that's nothing for you to be embarrassed about. They should be ashamed of their actions. And worst of all, when it's adult bullies, they should be even more ashamed, because you're acting like a 14-year-old kid and you're a grown adult. That's not something the victim should be ashamed about, okay? This one is near and dear to my heart. Slander. I never in my lifetime knew slander until I went into the churches. I am no longer religious, and I'm publicly making this statement. I am no longer religious. I do not like religion. I will never go back to religion. I hate religion. However, I will say in religious texts, there are a lot of virtues that you can live by. And I like the virtues in religious texts, their books, their religious books. I like the virtues in religious texts. But being religious, no, I will never be religious again. Ever, ever, ever. It is a den of absolute I believe half the people in religion need to see a psychiatrist as opposed to God. Okay, half the stuff that's going on in their life can be dealt with by a psychiatrist as opposed to God. Doesn't mean that I don't believe there's a creator or I hate religious people. I don't hate religious people. I don't like religion, and I don't like what religion allows people to get away with. Okay, so anyway, slander. You should never be ashamed of being slandered. When I began to experience the slander campaign, you know, I was literally paralyzed by shame. Like, what the hell did I do to deserve this? You know, and I had a couple of women come along and tell me, look, Renetta, I know you. That is a damn lie. Okay. But it began to affect, it began initially to affect my psyche that I started to believe the slander campaign. And luckily, I had very good women there, very good women and men there telling me, Renetta, it's a lie. Can't you see they're jealous? Can't you see they're slandering you because they're jealous? Can't you see that? So, and it took me a while to finally get a hold of myself and say, this is because of jealousy. The root of this is jealousy. And I had to hear it over and over again before I believed it, but not before the slander caused some damage. Huh? So slander, you should never be ashamed of being slandered. Okay. The person who's doing the slandering, they should be ashamed. And let me tell you something. The people who's causing you the embarrassment have no shame. Okay. So why should you walk around with shame that the person who's afflicting you with this shame has none? Huh? That makes no sense. Okay. Attacks against your person. Okay. So character assassination. You should never feel ashamed about being having a character assassinated. Okay. You should never be ashamed about this. You know why they're attacking a character? They're attacking a character because A, they either want to be you, B, you have something that they want. You have something that they want that they can't get or they don't have. Or C, it's just a matter of they think that either you're a threat or they think that they can't shine as long as you're in the picture. So what do? They degrade you. They degrade you and try to belittle you so their light can shine. Let me explain something about light, darling. Let me give you a hint about light. Darling, if you're in a dark room and a light switch goes on, no matter how tiny that light is, it shines. Okay? You don't have to dull someone else's light in order for you to shine. If you have to dull someone else's light for you to shine, get a new bulb. Okay? Get a new bulb. So any sort of character assassination, okay? Character assassination is simple. It's just like, okay, they basically want to put out your light so that their light can shine. I'm making it clear. If someone has to dull your light for their light to shine, the problem is not your light bulb. The problem is they need a new bulb. It's as simple as that, right? Okay, we talked about destructive criticism, right? If it's not healthy, constructive criticism, you need not feel ashamed about it, okay? No matter how sugar-coated this so-called criticism is, if it's not healthy, you need not be ashamed about it. You don't, okay? Giving up on something after you've exhausted all possibilities. I am one of those people. Difficult for me to let things go that I think have potential. And I'm coming to terms now where I realize there's a lot of things in this world that have potential, but that may not necessarily be for me to, what's the word I'm looking for? Fertilize. Let's just say fertilize, right? Okay, because something that has potential, you have to care for it. It has to get sunlight, it has to get water, it has to get minerals, nutrients, whatever, right? So There's a lot of things in this world that have a lot of potential, but not everything in this world, because I'm one of those people, when I start something, I want to see it through to the end. That's how I am, you know? But I realize that it's not everything in this planet that's A for me to do. And it's not everything in this planet that has potential that I have to see through to the end. Okay. So after you've exhausted, because a lot of people have exhausted a lot of time in a lot of things, and they don't want to let go because of the time and the money and the energy they put into it. Okay. But if you've exhausted it, if you've tried every option and nothing is working, that's it, because they're afraid of failure. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Cut your losses. Start over again. Okay. As long as you have breath, you can start over again. And that is not an easy thing to say. It's not. But I will share, I'll be a little bit transparent here. There have been, one or two things in my life that, I've tried to do. I've exhausted the situation and I didn't see the fruit. And I had to make a decision. I said, okay, am I going to keep fertilizing this thing and not seeing the returns that I need to see? And if I'm not seeing the returns that I need to see, why am I continuing to exhaust myself and frustrate myself? Move on, right? Okay. Your life station and your life situation. This is a difficult one, okay? Because we live in a very consumerist society and we live in a very materialistic society. So your life station is okay, where do you work, what do you do, what do you wear, what do you look like, this and that and the other. For example, I had my natural hair. I wore my hair naturally for a very long time. But even though I wore my hair naturally, I always wore extensions because it was just easier. Okay. I have curly hair. Okay. Not kinky, curly. Okay. Very curly hair that grows however it wants, whenever it wants. My hair grows. My hair has a life of its own. Okay. It will grow here. It will be up, down, sideways. It will do whatever it wants. Okay. That's just how my natural hair is. Okay. And at this point in time, I just said, you know what, I cannot maintain this anymore. Okay, I have to do something to this. So finally, I decided to perm the living daylights out of my hair. And my hair is perm now, but I decided to put extensions. And, some people are like, okay, I like the extensions. And some feel the need to say, you should not wear extensions. Let me explain something to you. Okay, what I put on my head is my business. Okay, it's none of your business. What I put on my head, it's my business. You don't like extensions? Find a woman who doesn't wear one. Because this is a woman who does. It's as simple as that. So, but the point is your life station and your life situation. So you will have people who really think it's their life's goal to determine your life. Okay. Or you may be embarrassed because you should be at a certain place in life and you're not. Okay, because we do live in a consumerist society, right? We do live in a materialistic society, So that's something you should consider. Your life situation, you shouldn't be embarrassed about that. Like, for example, I saw someone in the street today and this person asked me, they said to me, oh, do you have a life? And I said, yeah, sure. And I said, where do you work? And the person told me, and they said, okay. And I said to them, okay, I'm looking for work. And she said, okay, would you work at McDonald's? And I said, well, I don't know anything about flipping burgers. But she said, it's not really much to learn. I said, I'm looking for work. If McDonald's is hiring, I'll take it. Why? I know exactly what I need to do, and I get paid to do exactly what I need to do. Why do I care? Yes, I know. I know what I'm capable of doing, okay? But while I am focusing on what I need to do long term, I have to do something short term. And if that requires me doing a pitch, plug to work at McDonald's, I'll do it. As long as I know what I need to do and I get paid to do it. It's as simple as that, right? And who wants to be embarrassed? I could care less if you're embarrassed. I can care less if you're embarrassed. I'm making the decision to do what I want to do. Okay. So I know what my long-term goals are and I know what I need to accomplish short-term. Okay. And if it requires that short-term that I do this, I will do this. And let me tell you something interesting. McDonald's in New York is paying $12 an hour. Okay, let me tell you something. A lot of office work out there is paying less. A lot of office work out there right now is paying less than $12 an hour. Okay, so if McDonald's come calling, I'm going. That's it. Okay, so at number 10, walking alone. Yikes. This is something that I've noticed people are very embarrassed to do. Whoever invented the cell phone knew what they were doing, because we live in a society where it's like you're an alien if you spend time by yourself. I went out and I went to a club that I used to go to years ago. This one it switched. It used to be in East Village and now I think it's in the west side or whatever. I went there and, of course I walked into the club and I recognized a lot of people that I knew from years ago, like, oh my God, where the hell were you? But I'm just one of those people. I'm like, hey, I'm here, I'm there. And I went to see someone that I knew. I thought the owner would have been there because I remembered him from years ago. And it's interesting because, I met this young guy, very lively, young gay guy, and he was wonderful, had a great personality. And of course, the women, not the men, he was like, oh my God, he's like, why are you here alone? You're so fabulous. Come sit at my table. And I knew exactly what would happen. I knew exactly what would happen. The women would recognize me and the women would start gossiping. And that's exactly what happened. So then he said, he was like, come, he was dancing and talking to me, this and that and the other. And he was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Because they think I'm embarrassed. In their minds, they think I'm embarrassed. I am not embarrassed. I am not embarrassed. I'm not the one who orchestrated this. What am I supposed to be embarrassed about? I am not the person who orchestrated what happened. I will not be embarrassed for things people say about me, and I will not be embarrassed for things people do about me. So quit it, So anyway, so then I left and I went and I sat down and I had a drink or whatever. And then another guy came over. He was really nice and he started talking to me and I was like, yeah, and he was like, okay, like, what's going on? Where's your friends and this and that and the other? And I said, well, they're out. They're probably having fun, I said, okay. And he was like, okay, did you come here to see anyone? And I told him, I said, darling, long before you came to this place, I said, I used to be at this place when this place was open and I used to hang out with the owner. Okay. So it's kind of like, it's like walking. The point is walking alone. Never be embarrassed to walk alone. And that's something that these devices is killing, because it's kind of like you are an alien and, an alien from another planet if you're ever alone. And that's not something, because in life, if you want to do anything in life, there comes a point in time in life where you have to walk it alone. If you want to start your own business, if you want to if you want to, better yourself, especially when you want to better yourself. When you want to better yourself, be prepared to walk it alone. If you're a visionary and you have a vision, like one of the things I came up with was Dance-a-size, and I did a video on Dance-a-size, and I'm going to revive Dance-a-size. Okay. And it's one of those things where, one of the things I wanted to do was Dance-a-size, and there's a vision that I got, and I think that's something that's needed. I did a previous video on Dance-a-size, right? So you can go check that out. But the point is, in life, anything, hi guys, thank you for joining, love you. If there's anything you want to do in life, you always have to be prepared. At some point in time, when you're climbing up that mountain, before you get to the top, you're going to have to walk alone. You're going to have to walk alone, because not everyone can see the vision. Not everyone can see what you see. Okay. B, not everyone can interpret what you see. So you may both have the vision, but people interpret things differently. C, not everyone in life is there for your entire life's journey. So be prepared in life. Whatever you do to walk alone, be prepared in life. If you're a visionary, if you're creative, if you have any sort of mind spark, like when that light bulb goes off, things get done. Be prepared for, things like ridicule, things like ostracism, things like, people, trying to humiliate you, people not believing in your vision, people telling you, oh my God, what are you doing with your life? You're wasting your life, this and that, and everybody and their mother. Some people will be there to help you in a constructive way. But again, anyway, I don't want to keep this too long. So always be prepared. Never be embarrassed for walking alone. And one of the things I want to stress in this is when I go out and about in New York City, or out and about anyway, I am not coming to you from a place of embarrassment. I am not embarrassed. So do not be embarrassed for me at the slander campaign launched at me. I'm not embarrassed. Okay, I'm not embarrassed by what you say. I'm not going to be embarrassed by what you do. Don't try it. But I'm not going to be embarrassed by what you do. And I'm sure as hell not going to be embarrassed by what you say. This is my life. And I'm going to live my life my way. And guys, I encourage you, live your life your way. And always remember, okay, you cannot be embarrassed for things that other people do. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming. Love you. Love yourself. Thanks.